Hello there, beautiful beings. Welcome back to the Starseed Network podcast. I'm your host and personal spirit guide, Saula Ilona Vaida, bringing you with me on this journey of exploring our spiritual and human experience on Earth, connecting to incredible light workers and beings all around the world, and tuning into our collective ascension process. So, if this is your first time tuning in, or you've been tuning in before, please make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating or review, and let me know how these episodes resonate with you. And if you feel called to share with someone else who might resonate, please feel free to do so and spread the love. So today we're actually going to go into a really deep and beautiful topic, the topic of a Christ consciousness frequency. And this is something that maybe can be misinterpreted at times, and maybe people have a different type of understanding of. But in this episode, I'm going to share my personal journey connecting with the frequencies of Christ consciousness, what that actually means, how that manifests in the world, and how it is really a frequency field that is actually separate from a lot of the religious institutions. And we'll get into that a little bit more. So if you're ready to dive in and receive a living transmission and activation, let's freaking do this. Okay. So I haven't actually tuned into haven't posted on my podcast in a little while, and I have had gone through quite a few life updates and life changes that I will be sharing about as well. And yesterday, I went to an ecstatic dance, and I was just processing a lot of emotions, a lot of triggers, a lot of grief, a lot of just moving through some of these recent big changes that have been coming through, and being really activated by the full moon, by just a lot of these waves of energy that are coming through and purging and guiding us. And so I was in this dance, and I was feeling how I was just being invited to really be myself and be very authentic in how I was showing up. And how I was showing up at first was like literally crying in the corner. I was sitting there just crying in the corner. And then I got up and I started dancing and I started moving, and the energy started to free itself. And my mind was just in such a place of disarray. My mind was just like trying to control everything, trying to know the answers, know what's next. And the emotions were just coming through very strongly. So it was a really beautiful, cathartic experience to give myself this time and this space. And then so much came from that. And a significant moment that came through was actually the facilitator of this ecstatic dance had a deck of Mother Mary oracle cards, and I just saw them and I was immediately drawn in. And she had like a really beautiful couple of roses there as well. And the rose frequency has been something very significantly coming through lately. So I, picked some oracle cards of hers, and I was reading the oracle deck. It was like an Alana Fairchild deck, and she was talking about her connection to Mother Mary, and how Mother Mary's mission was coming through. And I picked the card of, talking about spiritual awakening, spiritual deepening, and, allowing miracles to manifest through you and to manifest into your reality. And as I was reading and feeling the transmission of Mother Mary, it just reactivated this really beautiful relationship that I have with her as a guide of mine. And this relationship began um so so sacred. Like I feel her presence here with me, and just really I invited her and Yeshua to really come through and hold this field so that you can feel as much as you hear this transmission. And the intention today and the message here that was coming through today was really to share the purity of this frequency, the truth of this frequency that can get very distorted in a lot of you know dogmatic or spiritual even spaces. And we want to really reconnect to what the pure essence of Christ consciousness frequency is, which is pure love and just pure gentleness and pure compassion and pure kindness. And this is what Mother Mary really brings in her coding, in her remembrance, is that deep just compassion, and that deep holding of all that comes up, and that protection of the innocence, the protection of the purity. And I'm seeing like a lamb coming through right now, the frequency of the lamb, like that really sweet, sweet innocence that is just so fresh and so pure and new to this world, and seeing the world with these open eyes and this open clarity and this open heart. So today I really, really came into contact with them again in a very beautiful way. I was meditating and allowing these Christ consciousness energies and codes to really come into my body. And I felt Yeshua and Mary holding my hands and giving me this living activation, this living cleansing. And I came fully back into my heart. And when I came back fully into my heart, it was like, oh, wow, this is what I needed all along. This is my home. This is my presence. This is where I'm supposed to be. Because anytime that we stray from our heart and our mind gets involved and gets triggered and our ego gets triggered and all these different things, like we are just out of that truth and out of that alignment, and coming back into the heart just brings us back to that space where it's like, oh, we click in and everything makes sense again and everything is clear. And this message of Yeshua and Mother Mary is that they're really wanting me to share the living relationship that is possible to have with them directly without having to go through a priest or a bishop or a pope, that their presence is here with us. Their presence is here with us to connect to. Like some people connect with deities or gods or goddesses, but I prefer the connection with Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. So the message that is coming through is really to empower humanity to know that we don't need an intermediary of any kind to connect with the frequency of true love, the frequency of Yeshua, Mother Mary, of God. And there's been this overlay, there's been this distortion with a lot of like the churches, the Catholic churches, the Christian churches, a lot of these dogmatic controlling religions that have really distorted the message. And this is a really interesting concept because the original Bible still holds a lot of these Christ consciousness codes in some ways. But then a lot of why the whole religious aspect came in and the control aspect was to silence the true message of Christ. And through division, through wars, in the name of spirit, of religion, through these very separatist movements and dogmatic movements that serve to isolate and separate and instill fear in the hearts of humanity, people have lost the contact with that truth in a lot of ways. So people have a living connection to Christ consciousness. They can have it through the vehicle of religion. But a lot of the times we miss that purity and that pure essence because of the added distortions, especially around the Father God frequencies. So, Mother God, like Divine Mother, has not even had the opportunity to be so highly distorted in the collective consciousness because she has been kind of erased so often from history. But the frequency of a father God, of a punishing God, of this man on a cloud with this old man with a white beard and just, who will send down a thunderbolt if you do something wrong and strike you down. And like you're a sinner, you were born a sinner. Like this whole concept is designed to keep humanity enslaved and entrapped in a false consciousness of feeling unworthy of connection to true love, feeling unworthy of connection to true God, because this is our birthright, really. The people who have this connection, they're not special. They're not different. They're not better than anyone else for having this connection. This is actually how we're all meant to live. We're all meant to have this living relationship and this one-to-one attention that we deserve from the Most High, from the Most Divine, from God. And even saying the word God can be like triggering in some spiritual spaces because of the layer of programming and the layers of distortion that people can feel uncomfortable with this word in itself because it implies the false God, the punishing God, the controlling God. And so for us to do a really deep work of reclamation of true God, we actually come into contact with this power that is so awe-inspiring, so beautiful that it just, brings tears to your eyes and opens your heart in such a way, and you experience life in a completely different way. And the frequency of God is always here for us. There's no limit to what we can ask for and what we can receive in our healings and in miracles that can come through us and manifest miracle healings. And humanity is here to remember this now. This is what the Essenes seeded over 2000 years ago. The whole purpose of the Christ drama, the Christ story, was to seed this remembrance for humanity. Like, Jesus came to remind us that we are all children of the divine, we're all children of God. And his message was always like, I'm not special, I'm not different from you, I'm here to show you what you are capable of. Like, don't venerate me, don't put me on a cross, don't put me above you, because we are the same humanity. We are the same. This is the core, a core teaching of all of this. And this is why, even in the Bible, they say, like, Jesus was hanging out with the lepers and the prostitutes and all the people. And this is a reminder that we are all sacred humanity. We are all sacred human consciousness. And through that loving kindness and through that embodiment of this and holding of the heart frequency, we remind others of their own sacred nature. And it's never about putting anyone on a pedestal. It's never about hierarchy. And like the pure fact that there is a hierarchy on who speaks to God, who is the closest to God. Like, you have to, the Pope is the only one who speaks directly to God. That is bullshit. I'm sorry, but um there is no separation between a person who is in deep devout connection and just any person like who is living their life. We all have an equal spark of the divine within us. And when you nurture that spark, you get to live in it. You get to live in that knowing all the time. And so my living connection with Yeshua and my living connection with Yeshua and Mother Mary and these frequencies began in 2020 when I connected with what was once called the Soulful Heart community. And they really bridged me into the Christ consciousness frequencies and the parts work. And I'm really glad that I found them initially as I was waking up, because it saved me a lot of straying. It saved me a lot of time. It saved me a lot of like, a trial and error with other types of spiritual communities or teachers that um, aren't embodying that purity, because there is a lot of false light out there, and there's a lot of confusion and misalignments. And so finding them gave me that bridge into meeting these frequencies. And when they started talking about Christ and Yeshua and Mother Mary, at first I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, because I grew up in the Catholic Church. I grew up going to like Catholic Lithuanian summer camp and having to pray and like really not resonating with what they were talking about. And I was very rebellious, so I would always be like drawing pentagrams and stuff and saying I'm a witch and like doing all this stuff to just be like inflammatory. And then to connect with and hear them talking about Yeshua and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, was kind of like, oh, I don't know about all this. But as I began to really like establish a living relationship with them and meet them in the inner planes and feel them, I just felt like this is the purest love that being can hold, that I can feel. And this feels so safe to me. This feels so real. And they were they've always been there for me and with me on my healing journeys and my really deep processing in my darkest dark nights of the soul. I called upon Mother Mary, I called upon Yeshua, called upon the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, and they was always there for me, always, like unconditionally. And they would just hold my pain and take my pain and help me move through it and help me understand. And at one point I even like I asked them to stand in as my parents, to be my like energetic parents, my Divine Mother and my Divine Father, specifically like Yeshua and Mother Mary, because I feel very deeply connected with her. And she has guided my path so much and so beautifully. And so having that living connection with them and that living relationship and speaking with them and being held by them and learning more about their true story as well. Because I also began reading, I really recommend reading this book called Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, which tells the story. It's a channeled a transmission from Anna, Jesus's grandmother, and how the life that she lived, and she tells the story of the Christ and how Mother Mary prepared for Yeshua's birth, how she prepared for the birth of Mother Mary through light conception and through deep initiations in the temples of Isis, and traveling to Egypt and being a scribe and learning how to regenerate her cells and her body. So she lived like over 500 years. And she tells the whole story of this origin, like truly from her walk-in experience in, Bethlehem and in, these areas, and her joining the Essenes, this like Jewish community of deeply devoted spiritual beings who held very pure codes, and the, high alchemy that she practiced. And she as well came in very strongly as a guide to me and showing me like their story, showing me the visions of what happened and the the Christ drama and how it played out, because I was being activated and seated as an ambassador of this energy. And so um reading this book was like a living remembrance and activation. It's a living activation. And other people I've shared this book with, they tell me the same, that this it triggers your remembrance. This book triggers your awakening into, and if you were especially in the part of this lineage and connected with them, then it's very strongly comes through. And for me, especially when she started speaking about Mother Mary and the birth of Yeshua, I was like, I felt it, I saw it, I lived it with her. And I felt, I just felt it so viscerally and so deeply and so honestly, and it activated me in such a way and brought me into such close connection with them and with the story, and gave me a really deep understanding of something that I had always known, but I had forgotten, and the truth of it all. And so to be with that and to be activated in that, um, I know without a doubt what is the truth, what is the truth of the frequent, and the truth is love. Like truly, that's all it is. And that's what Yeshua was teaching and guiding, was that truth of love. And so the path of loving kindness, the path of Christ consciousness, the path of devotion to love and to the ascension of humanity, the path of the divine feminine, Sophia, Christ, the rose, these are all, a part of this, at least personally for me. And so really the reminder here is that you have just as much capacity for this living relationship with these energies, with these beings. You don't have to convert to Christianity. You don't have to um, you know, go become a nun or a priest or fully, do something drastic. You have a living access point to these codes. You just need to ask them to come, like they will come. Like ask Mother Mary to initiate you, and she will. Ask Yeshua to come to you and speak with you, and he will. They have unlimited um space and time where they can be and support and love that they can give. It's an endless fountain that they have. So, and so like going back to talking about how people, you don't need to join a religion actually to access this energy. A lot of people, I think, these days in the New Age community, they're waking up to a new level of consciousness, and they're realizing that the fluffy, affirmations and the law of attraction and all that stuff, it isn't really cutting it for them. It isn't enough. And people are looking for something real. They're looking for something substantial. They're looking for a guidance. They're looking for a path. And some people, they they have an experience with Christ consciousness. They have an experience with Yeshua, direct connection. And then they become like very intense Christians. It's possible. I've seen it personally where people go from like the New Age path into Christianity, and their whole outlook changes, and it becomes more of a game of comparison and even shaming others, or turning to bigotry or homophobia. And for me, it's just quite shocking to see that sometimes, because the path of Christ is the path of love. There's no space for bigotry. There's no space for exclusion. There's no space for homophobia. Like even the Bible verse that people reference talking about, oh, man shall not lay with another man. That original verse was saying man shall not lay with children. So talking about, anti-pedophilia. And so people just really misinterpret this message, and it becomes this other energy that is no longer connected to the purity. And the thing is, like, new age or not new age, or awakened or unawakened, or Christian or non-Christian, everyone has a equal right to exist, to love, to be in peace, to be in their sovereignty. And of course, like I would never um judge anyone else's choice of religion, or what they choose to believe in. It's more about how we treat others from that space. Like if you're the most devout person, but you're mistreating other people, what does that even mean? What are you? What are you actually doing? What are you actually spreading here? So it's really important for us to remember and to be unraveling the mystery. And again, the pure love. Like love is the answer. Like I know it sounds so cliche and so simple, but like when you lock into your heart and you remember that love, and you remember that presence, and you have the support, you don't really need to tell anyone else what to do. You just want to hold them. You just want to be with them and hold space for them and trust that they will be on their journey however they're meant to be. So it's like as we are ascending collectively, um, this is another one of those things that can come up, like one of those little pitfalls where we can fall into, because something looks very structured, and that structure can be attractive, that salvation, the rebirth, we want all of that. But the thing is, like, all of that can also come from inside. Doesn't need to be facilitated by a priest or a church or a certain belief system or a dogma. I mean, honestly, I visited Turkey this year. I visited Istanbul, and I visited the Blue Mosque, and I spoke with a man there for about 2 hours talking about the Quran and the religion of Islam. And I really resonated with it. Like it really felt very pure to me and very true. And he talked about how Islam also recognizes Jesus, Yeshua, as an ascended master, as a guide. They recognize Mother Mary. They recognize all of the ascended masters, and that they have this belief in this connection with the angels, with the pure transmission, the frequency, the sounds. And I was even very like convinced to even join the religion of Islam and convert in that moment from just hearing and connecting with it. But then, I was reminded of that my personal path is an eclectic one. And more about experiencing and connecting with these different you know, belief systems and just witnessing all of them is beautiful. And I really was able to witness this religion as something very, very beautiful and pure in its essence, in its truest essence. And that is something that, Christianity, Catholicism also has, that in its purest essence, it is pure and it is have does have truth in it. It's just we need to be really aware of what is the pure truth and what is the man-made, you know, separation. And so now the reason like Yeshua is coming through so strongly in our collective humanity because people are being awakened and activated and to remember that path, the path of ascension, because they hold the codes and the pathway for the new earth, the heaven on earth reality. And they are here activating us and reminding us. And from the grids that they planted, they activated over 2,000 years ago, the seeds they planted, the ancestors, the lineages, the living codes, the remembrance is all coming back into us now. And those who are part of it are remembering and activating. But you don't need to be part or not part of anything. You're a sacred human. You have a right to live in peace and to live in love always. So I just want to remind you of this. And living in love and living in peace doesn't mean that everything is just, perfect all the time and hunky-dory and like, there's no issues. You actually the more love you let in, the deeper your shadows come up, the deeper everything is revealed because the light comes into every crevice, every orifice, every little space and exposes what is not of that pure love and brings it to the surface. And then you have to contend with that. But when you have the love of God holding you, the divine presence, you are never alone in that process. You're never alone in that healing. And the darkest, scariest, most demonic things can come up and be held in the light and dissolve in the light with so much love and reintegrate back into the heart space. And this is something that we are here to remember and here to connect with. And we all have the power to do this, not just a select few, not just the religious or spiritual leaders, but every single one of us. So I want you to remember this and to encode this living transmission into your body, this living remembrance, and to connect with it on a daily basis, like just connecting in with your heart space. Like I know at first it's hard to feel your heart because there's so much wounding there. We have our heart can be so broken. And then when we come into it, it can feel almost like so painful, so just uncomfortable because we have to feel all of this. But this is where we call in the support of the divine, divine mother, divine father. They're here for us. They're here to be with us. They're here to hold the space. And they will help you heal anything and everything that comes up. And if you would like support in connecting to that living relationship, that living transmission, I do offer one-to-one coaching sessions, and I'm opening up spots again for one-to-one connection where I will personally guide you and mentor you through your process of awakening and connection to this Christ consciousness field, to the healing of all of your inner wounds and shadows and things that come up to be reborn and rebirthed and rejuvenated through the power of this energy, this love, this Christed essence. And this is available through one-to-one mentorship and through a course that is designed to be self-paced. So you can go through these healings on your own and your own timings and learn on all these topics and you're guided through these awakenings and activations in a very uh, important sequence, very sequential, coded remembering. So please, check out the links below. I also am offering free connection calls, just to chat, to bring your questions, bring your seeking, and to feel into if this process would align for you. There's no pressure, there's no expectation. Like, please just I'm here to share. And if you feel called to come closer in with the connection, I'm here to hold space for that. So feel free to book a call below and we can connect one to one and feel into if this is for you. And if you feel it, you'll feel it. You'll know. Trust yourself, trust your intuition. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And if it is, it is. And so with that, thank you so much for listening. I'm sending you so much love and blessings and have a beautiful morning, evening, noon, or night, wherever you are in this beautiful. Take care.